Howdy gamers and welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to try to convince you that the ending to the Mass Effect trilogy was actually pretty great and didn't deserve as much hate as it got. When Mass Effect 3's ending was first released, it sparked massive controversy that still resonates in gaming community today. Fans were left feeling frustrated, disappointed, and even betrayed by the conclusion of the trilogy. The outcry was so loud that BioWare responded with a statement promising to address the community's concerns by making a DLC to expand it. One of the primary criticisms of the ending is that it didn't provide enough closure for the characters. After investing hundreds of hours into the series, players felt that they deserved a much more satisfying conclusion to the story arcs of their favorite characters. Plus, the abruptness of the ending, combined with the lack of personalized consequences for the player's choices, left many feeling unfulfilled. Another criticism is that the ending didn't respect the choices made throughout the series. Many players, including myself, felt that their decisions were ignored or rendered meaningless, which undermined the sense of agency and control that the game had built up to until that point. At its core, the problem with the ending is that it failed to deliver on the promises made throughout the series. The game had built up a sense of choice and consequence only to nullify it in the final act. Players felt that their decisions didn't matter and that the ending was predetermined regardless of their actions. This feeling of being powerless was a significant departure from the sense of agency that the series had cultivated up until that point. The hardest concept I'm about to sell you right now is that I believe the ending of Mass Effect series did respect all the choices we made with care and purpose. And to prove that, we need to look at the entirety of all three games and how they drove the story to its epic conclusion, so please stick with me. Mass Effect 1 lays the foundation, immersing you in the lore of the galaxy, introducing key players, and establishing the stakes. This game is meant to be the exposition or a stage setter that defines your role as Commander Shepard and your influence on the galaxy. Mass Effect 2 escalates the tension, acting as the rising action. The game raises the stakes, dramatically emphasizing the direness of the Reaper threat and forcing you to make choices that test your leadership and moral compass. The team you assemble, the loyalty you earn, and the sacrifices you endure all create a sense of urgency and preparation for the ultimate battle ahead with the Reapers. Now, this is where the distinction is important to recognize, so pay attention. The climax of Mass Effect 3 isn't the last couple hours of the game. The climax is the entirety of the game. Every decision made in the first two games is brought to fruition. The game isn't about new choices, it's about the culmination of everything you've done before. From resolving the fate of entire species to determining the survival of trusted companions, Mass Effect 3 is where the threads of your journey are woven into a defining conclusion. This structure ensures that this isn't just a story's ending, it's a reflection of Shepard's journey and the legacy you built. This is shown by how the narrative is heavily influenced by the concept of the butterfly effect, where small changes have massive repercussions, with one of the best examples is the Rachni Queen. If you chose not to save her in the first game and decide to ally yourself with the Reaper clone in the third, which I hope to no surprise, but some of us are, we can fix some type of people, she betrays you, taking away a massive 200 points of war assets. Or even better, if you can even secure peace between the Geth and the Quarians, there's a hidden point system where you gain the vast majority of them in Mass Effect 2 based on how you handle Legion and Tali's loyalty missions, plus some extra stuff in the third game. Best example overall is if remotely any of your companions survive across all three games, which drastically changes the tone and atmosphere of many missions in Mass Effect 3. With all that being put into context, let's look at the ending one last time before I wrap this video up with a fresh perspective. I couldn't talk about the ending without bringing up the most criticized point, which is the color-coded choices at the finale. But those options aren't the culmination of your entire journey, they're the capstone. Or in simpler words, this is your moment to demonstrate all your skills and knowledge you gained from making difficult choices across all three games into one final decision. The three choices at the end of Mass Effect 3, Control, Synthesis, and Destroy, are not meant to wrap up the galaxy stories or the fates of your companions. Those arcs have already been resolved through the culmination of decisions across the trilogy. Instead, the ending is about Commander Shepard's journey, which you have to remember, you are Commander Shepard, so this is your final test and your ultimate legacy. Shepard is alone in this moment for a reason. There's no crew to offer guidance or influence your decision. The galaxy's future rests entirely on your shoulders. The three options reflect not the galaxy's closure, but Shepard's personal conclusion. Your values, your sacrifices, and what you believe is the best path forward. Each choice speaks to a different philosophy, letting players define the essence of Shepard's story and what he stood for. However, I like to explore a different perspective on the game's narrative structure and themes that might just change the way we think about the ending. Mass Effect 3's story is built around the concept of consequences of choice. Throughout the game, Shepard's faced with difficult decisions that impact entire civilizations. The ending in this context can be seen as the ultimate sacrifice. Due to my military background, I was able to relate with Shepard's choice either to destroy the Reapers, merge with them, control them, or even do nothing is a reflection of the series' central theme, the burden of command and the consequence of leadership. The game's narrative structure, when examined more closely, reveals a clever subversion of the player's expectations. The ending's abruptness and the lack of closure are actually a clever commentary on the nature of war and sacrifice. In reality, there's no tidy conclusion to conflicts like this. There are only scars, losses, and the consequences of our action. By mirroring this in the game's narrative, the developers may have been trying to convey a deeper message about the true cost of saving the galaxy, or even winning a war in general. One of the most interesting aspects of Mass Effect 3 is how it subverts our expectations expectations of what a good ending should be. We're conditioned to believe that a happy ending means everyone gets to ride off into the sunset, but that's not the case here. This game is saying that sometimes the right decision isn't the easy one, and that sacrifice is necessary for the greater good. I know none of us want to see Shepard die, or sentence Edie to death alongside all the Geth, but if we don't, then the alternative is that the Reapers will purge a galaxy regardless. The question is, can you sacrifice a few for the many? Look, I wasn't a fan of Mass Effect 3 ending initially either. Like many, I shared the frustration about how it seemed disconnected from the rest of the trilogy, and I wish they showed more cutscenes that reflected your choices of war assets like they did with the Normandy ship upgrades in Mass Effect 2. We desperately wanted a happy ending for all the characters we loved and cherished, a satisfying resolution to the years of emotional investment. But as I grew up and learned more about storytelling, I came to understand that the purpose of some stories is to make us feel complex emotions, even discomfort or loss. Take Cyberpunk Edge Runners as an example. It's a bittersweet conclusion doesn't give viewers what they want, but rather what the narrative needs, leaving a lasting impression that resonates long after the story ends. I'd argue that such stories are among the greatest ever told, precisely because they challenge us. They make us wrestle with the ideas, choices, and consequences, rather than just delivering a neatly wrapped conclusion. Mass Effect 3 might not have tied up every loose end in the way that fans hope, but it aimed to do something more profound, deliver a finale that reflected the weight of Shepard's journey. Mass Effect's story may have not been perfect, but there's a reason why people are still playing it 18 years later. Overall, this is just what I think, but I'd love to know what you think. Do you agree that Mass Effect's ending deserves some more love, or are you standing firm that after all these years, it still sucks? Even cooler thought, was I able to change your mind at all? Let me know down in the comments below. And if this wasn't controversial enough, go check out why I think Final Fantasy 13 is the best one out of the franchise. And as always, if you got any value out of this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support means a lot and it helps me grow the channel. Thank you for watching. Until next time, game on.